People are amazing. They are ungodly amazing. These poets are amazing. A marathon of your favorite show on your day off. Amazing. A beer after work. Amazing. Jack Nicholson and As Good as It Gets. Amazing. My friends are amazing.
Let's see here. Ah, that's a good one. Prokaryote. Prokaryote. Damn it, there's a Y in there. Greetings, ladies and gentlemen of the YouTube. I am Joe Atticus Inch, and welcome to today's new weekly issue of Poet Love. And today we start off about a bunch of big changes. My life personally, yesterday I took the final of community college for me, so fingers crossed that I pass and will be able to graduate. But to keep my life not so boring, you know, with school, I've been studying the old dictionary here to prepare for a friend's party that I'm going to this Saturday. I have some crazy friends. It's going to be a good time. I just wish that my study materials for this last week weren't so girthy here. And I also took some time and I made a nice little title card, as you just witnessed before this episode. I even featured today's poet in a picture. It was the last picture of the title cards, which featured me with two lovely poets. The first one you may recognize as Miss Ebony Hogan, who was the first poet we talked about here on Poet Love, and the other was a poet I love just as much, T. Miller. Now, T. Miller was born on the west side of Detroit.
Detroit?
Ooh. Detroit. D-E-T-R-I-O-T. Am I right, Mario?
Detroit!
Fuck. It's gonna be a hard party. Anyway, she's represented Detroit in numerous competitions, including the Women of the World Poetry Slam, which she placed on the final stages numerous times. She has also been a Grand Slam champion in Detroit, has toured across the country, and is just beautiful. Because her work just doesn't stop at poetry. She helped create the biggest, gayest play ever. I can't even stumble over my words when I'm doing this. The biggest, gayest play ever, which is the actual title of a performance which takes place where poems about the LGBT community and then takes those three main poems and then converts them into skits so people can get a more personal opinion or personal approach to the issues talked about in the poems. She is also the author of the book Coming Out of Nowhere, which doesn't only feature her poetry, but also features various looks and insights into the community, including such things as debates, interviews, and YouTube comments, which sadly can be both horrific and amazing showings of the human spirit. But so she has done a lot, and any accolade she gets, she is deserving. I met T. Miller a couple of years ago, probably back in, I want to say, 2010. She was doing a tour at Righting Wrongs Poetry Slam with Ebony Hogan, hence the picture of both of them, with both of them. And what I love about T. Miller's work, or Natasha Miller, as she has become now more professionally known by, is the fact that when you hear her perform her poetry, when you see her, when you read her poetry, you get that is a true sense of who T. Miller is as a person in whole. You have the funny personal stuff, like the difference between a girlfriend and a woman. You have the kind of socio-political pop culture stuff, like For Tyler Perry, which is a poem. I love that poem. But her best stuff, honestly, is her political stuff. And I'm not really a huge political poem fan. I think political poetry stopped with me when I read Taylor Mali's How to Write a Political Poem. Because most of the time, most political poems sound about the same, honestly, to me. And when an issue gets brought up too much for me personally, it takes... There are certain issues that need to be talked about more, and then there are some issues that we need to just learn how to get over. I don't want to get into that because I might say something stupid, and I don't want to do that. But we'll see what happens if I have to drink any more whiskey. Whiskey. Whisky. I know I got that one right. Getting easier. But anyway, back to T. Miller. But her political stuff is, she brings it to a very personal level. She has poems like No More Oil, which I don't really think I need to talk about, hence the title. America Was Supposed to Be a Husband is a very interesting way to look at things. But her most powerful piece to me is called Lawrence King, I Will Remember, or at least that's how the YouTube video that I've watched of it is titled. And it's a beautiful piece about a boy named Lawrence King. L-A-U... No. Lawrence. Lawrence King. That is a name that should not be given. He was a middle school openly gay student who got shot in the back, who got shot point blank in his math class because he was gay. That's just terrible. There should be no reason anything like that should happen. And I wouldn't have learned about the tragedy of humanity such as that if it wasn't for Natasha Miller. But that's not a bad thing. When someone can bring out a very negative event like the death of a child because of their sexual orientation and bring it to a personal level and use it as a marching ground to, we need to fix what's wrong with our society so shit like this doesn't happen. That is the stuff T. Miller is going for. I suggest you watch that video, Lawrence King, I Will Remember. And also, if you read the YouTube comments, you also get a sense of what's in her book coming out of nowhere, because she actually posted every single YouTube comment into the book. So you see both sides of humanity, the terrible and the good, the people who have took inspiration from this, who have moved to action, who want to move to action for this to make for better changes, and the people who don't want change and ignorance, stuff like that. It's just great. And every time I see T. Miller, she's always smiling. Or at least the times I have seen T. Miller, she's always smiling, she's always having fun, and she just gives you a good, positive energy. And that's really all I can say about T. Miller. My interactions with her have been brief and sporadic through time, so like with most of the poets on here, it's going to be hard to recollect everything, but with this series, I want to say that if you want to learn more about the world and how to change it, T. Miller's poetry is for you. If you want some great poetry, T. Miller is for you. If you want to support a great person, please support T. Miller. And that's all I'm going to say on this episode. We're going to go back now into the magic shoebox here. We're going to pick a name for next week's Poet Love. And it is going to be someone with a long-ass name. Until then, ladies and gentlemen, I am Joe Atkinson, reminding you to keep your pens moving, live long and prosper. And I'm gonna get back to studying. That's a good one.
Spaghetti. Spaghetti. Son of